It has been such a journey to get where we are right now. I mean, we had fuel leaks. We also had weather that was not so good. And then we had the politics added to that. So not a good recipe for us by any means. However, now we are moving forward and we want to go back and look at the timeline for you and just show you what we have been dealing with. So this SLS rocket, it first rolled out to the launch pad, as we know, back in January. And at that time, NASA was actually gearing up for the first set of those launch windows. Now, quickly, though, as we know, trouble did appear during dress rehearsals as crews practiced fueling the rocket. That's when fuel began leaking, and what followed was finger pointing. For those who follow the space program, it felt like deja vu. The launch of Artemis I in 2022 was delayed by months because of similar launch delays. Now, in a new interview just this week, Betsy talked with former NASA Associate Administrator Jim Free. Jim played a huge role in Artemis I and actually talked with Betsy about the fuel leaks.
It is pretty difficult. It is a challenge, and you know, these are big interfaces.
I mean, an 8-inch.
Right. And
it's liquid
shuttle
hydrogen.
was 18.
Yeah.
In this case, you know, they brought it back. They've fixed it right out of the gate. Of course, they had a different problem on the upper stage.
That was
with
the helium.
That's right. Yeah, but it was more just a mechanical interference that they've fixed, no problem. But they were able to load the next time. It's learning. It's difficult. It's hydrogen. It is going to be that. And you know, everybody. Why would you pick hydrogen? Why, you know? The second guessing is amazing to me, but from my perspective, they made the right choice, and it's the performance you need.
And that was former NASA Associate Administrator Jim Free. And Betsy has a fantastic interview that's coming up. You won't want to miss that. That's going to be a little bit later on. But first, how about we talk a little bit about something, as meteorologists, that's always a conversation: the weather. That, as we know, can make or break a launch. And if you remember earlier this year, it was seriously cold, not just here for us in the Midwest, all the way down in Florida. And those cold temperatures actually hampered the launch. Now, scientists were worried the abnormally cold weather could actually put stress on the metals, get this, of the SLS rocket. Now, the weather has been haunt in the Artemis program. If you remember back in 2022, we actually had two different hurricanes that delayed the launch of Artemis I. We had Hurricane Ian, and we also had Hurricane Nicole. Now, that delayed launch opportunities and actually forced officials to do a complete inspection of the rocket. Now, Brad and Betsy, between Artemis I and Artemis II, we know 4 years have passed. And in recent weeks, NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman said he wants to make delays. He wants to make them a thing of the past, actually. Now, starting with Artemis II, Isaacman intends to make Artemis missions routine, yearly launches with each mission. NASA is upping its knowledge about how to live in space, which is a plan that Isaacman now says is about building, this is the coolest thing, a permanent moon base. And, you know, definitely a very, very exciting time for us now. You know, a lot of us may not remember the original space race or even the last time with the Apollo mission, but now here we are witnessing history, and it's a whole nother level with all the technology and all the advances that we have made since then.